Alright, what's up, photography world? Joshua Grasso with theshutterschool.com here with some COVID business updates mostly for wedding photographers. So I'm sure if you're in the wedding business, you've seen your business decimated this year, and it's been awful for all of us. And you might be wondering, how is everybody else doing? And I've got those stats for you here. It is official statistics by the Wedding Report. They've got official stats on how bad it is, how bad they expect it to get, and what next year's rebound, yes, a rebound, might look like. Also, we're going to talk about what am I doing, what are some action plans going forward, how are we going to get through this together. All right, so let's get into it. All the data I've got here is by the Wedding Report. The Wedding Report is a website that allows you to find data on our industry. There's a free account. You can get lots of information there, and they've also got some premium features that I've used in the past. I thought they were well worth it. I got complete data on my local market, so they have a business comparison tool, a wedding market search tool, a wedding cost estimator tool. They've got all sorts of tools to get data. One of the coolest things is you can look in your region and your city specifically and get in-depth statistics on how much couples spend, how many couples there are, how many couples are in different price brackets, like, you know, higher tier, lower tier, budget tier, how many weddings most vendors book, I believe, is on there. There's a lot of good in-depth data. It's been a couple years since I've got it. I'll probably have to get an updated wedding market analysis as we get into this recovery here. So lots of good stuff here. Sign up for a free account. There's links in my description to get your free account. Also, there's a link to the blog with all the statistics that I'm going over here today. So definitely check that out. All right. Anyway, so they surveyed hundreds of couples and vendors to try to get what they were going through, what are their plans going forward, to try to get some actual hardcore data on how COVID is affecting everybody. All right, some of these are not a surprise now that it's August. A lot of you have already felt a lot of these things, but here's some official statistics to see if it's in line with you. 21% of couples are having or postponing their wedding in 2020. 41% have moved to 2021, and 7% have canceled altogether. All right, so that's the numbers of how many actual weddings have moved. That sounds in line to me. I lost one wedding completely this spring. A big chunk of my move to later this year, and then had to reschedule the next year. And anyway, and definitely about a third of my couples at least have moved to next year. And I'm holding out hope that the rest of the year it stays where it is. If I only lose what I've lost so far, we'll get through this. A lot of it's going to depend on the pandemic. Obviously, I've got a lot of nervous couples that are planning on going forward. I think the biggest variable is couples that have out-of-state guests. So my couples that have people traveling from the Northeast, from Louisiana, stuff like that, they've moved. They're a lot more nervous with couples, families having to fly and things like that. My local Georgia weddings seem to all be holding out. All right, so the overall impact of these numbers, we have the Wedding Report has some data on the average numbers of weddings we've had the last few years, this year, what they expect for the next few years as well. So the average number of weddings the last 2 years has been 2.13 million weddings. This year, they're expecting it to drop all the way down to 1.1 million, so cut almost in half, which we're all feeling that pain. I'm sure that's not a surprising number. The good news going forward, we'll get into more good news in a minute, is they expect next year to have a huge rebound to the point of 600,000 more weddings than the average, so we will be at 2.77 million weddings. So a lot of those are rescheduled from this year. So that's not a total win, but I think that's still going to have a positive impact. And then they expect it to get back down to the average normal number going forward. So this is a big blip, but it's definitely a blip on the current statistics. All right, so this has also affected the spending. And so I don't know if any wedding photographers have felt this. I think I might have felt this. It's hard to know because I've only had a limited amount of leads this summer. Things have definitely slowed down as far as who's planning a wedding for me. But the Wedding Report has found that the average wedding cost this year is also plummeted. It is down from $24,680 to $19,850 this year. I'm hoping and guessing that a big chunk of that is actually that the guest counts are being lower. So they found 58% of their couples surveyed were cutting their guest count by an average of 41%. That's a big chunk. All right, so if you go from 300 weddings or 300 guests down to 160, something like that, or 100 guests down to 60, that's a big difference. And I think that that's going to take a big hit on the overall spend related to the guest count. which is also good news for us as photographers, because we see this big number of the budget going down by a huge amount and we might think, crap, that's going to affect us. However, if couples are just cutting their wedding to a smaller size, the most of the savings, I'm guessing, is just going to be because of that. I don't think that the DJ and the photographer is going to be hit at the same percentage. However, I do think that the overall spending for everybody will also probably be impacted, because anytime there's economic uncertainty, couples like to tighten the purse strings. So I would not be surprised if you have a harder time booking higher budget packages. However, I did just book a wedding. One of my bookings that happened a month ago, they picked my highest package. So it's not 100% doom and gloom out there. The overall loss to the market, they say, is $32 billion this year. I didn't even realize the wedding market was that big. Huge. So it's going to be a total market of $54 billion. All right, now for the good news. 2021 is going to be better. Okay, hopefully everything is getting back to normal by then. We're not losing lots of weddings. Hopefully this rebound that is predicted by the wedding report is going to come. So they see a surge of 664,000 weddings. It's a 30% surge. And what I see from that is you're going to have all the photographers now that have competing for a certain level of business now are competing for a huge, much larger number of clients. That supply and demand curve is finally going to work more in our favor. And I think more photographers are going to be able to fill their calendars than before. Also, you're going to have couples who want to book certain photographers, but they're already booked by last year's date. So the more likely that they're going to keep searching, and more likely that they're going to find you. So I really do think 2021 is going to be a blowout year. I think everybody who's been cooped up in their house for so long and so depressed and so stressed out is going to be so pumped about celebrating that next year is going to be amazing. The statistics that the wedding report has seems to be backing that up. So ultimately, I think that if we can hang in there, we're going to be okay. So they say that there are... Okay. They also say that the average wedding cost should start to rebound in 2021. It's going to go from $19,000 back up to $21,680. Now, that's not a huge jump, but it is a step in the right direction. I do think they're going to have smaller guest counts next year as well, and I think that's going to be a part of it. But over the next 4 years, they expect it to get back to normal. So it's kind of interesting to see that it's going to take 4 years to rebound. So you definitely want to be hanging in there, grinding it out, and that we're going to be okay. All right, so what does this mean big picture? I think what this means is, all right, so what's my takeaways for 2020 and 2021? My takeaway is that I've been hurt as much as everybody else. I'm in line with everybody else. I feel like there's no photographer that's been spared. I think photographers that are more destination and maybe even bigger name photographers that travel a lot or have guests that travel a lot, couples that travel a lot are probably hurt more than maybe a small-time person who all their weddings are local. However, there's nobody that's spared. So the biggest takeaway for next year is that we're going to have a big rebound. I really believe that. I think we're going to have COVID behind us by next year, hopefully, and that most people will be ready to get back after it next year. Okay, one big takeaway is that you need to be prepared for hardship in your business. So if this caught you by surprise and you weren't prepared, unfortunately, you're probably hurting much more than others. I hope that you're going to make it through. I hope that we all get through this. However, when you get through this, keep this in your rearview mirror as a reminder of what to do going forward. I was very fortunate that I had studied business cycles through just trying to understand business, and that the idea is that the economy grows, it gets a little bit overextended, people start taking too much risk, people start getting too much in debt, and businesses start to struggle, a few, and then the whole thing collapses. We have a recession, and the businesses that are overextended, the businesses that weren't good at saving and preparing end up going out of business. Usually every recession we lose like 10% of businesses. I don't remember the exact number, but there's a percentage of business every recession that lose. And then what happens is the businesses that were prepared and financially responsible and had savings and buffers come out way stronger, because now they have less competition. They're able to buy things, invest for cheap while things are market's depressed, and the weak players left. And then they get to take up that business. So hopefully, not that I'm rooting for wedding photographers to be out of business. I hope everybody makes it through. But the good news is, if you're able to hold on and fight through 2020, that you will be there to benefit from the recovery. Okay, so I think 2020 will be a better year for everybody. So what's my action plan going forward? So how I've gone through all of this, the first step was just survival mode. Like I said, luckily I had savings. I knew I could survive a few months and pay myself. The biggest thing I did before all this happened was create a paycheck account. And so what I do is I put money into that account every month. If I have a slow month, less money goes in. If I have a good month, more money goes in. It's a percentage of my overall income goes into that account. And then I pay myself a fixed amount every month. So essentially, there's 8 to 10 months of paychecks in an account. So if I book a wedding today, essentially the profits from that and the proceeds that go towards my paycheck will be paying me 8 months from now because I have this huge buffer. So that would be one recommendation, is to create a buffered paycheck account so that you can survive these ebbs and flows. So phase one of this action plan of COVID, starting in March, was survival mode. I cut all spending, cut new investment, cut advertising spend. I am not buying new advertising and things like that. I'm not buying new gear. And whatnot. So it's definitely get your budget in order. You got to survive. That's step one. Step two was I took advantage of the downtime to recharge mentally and enjoy my family. So in the beginning, I thought there was going to be a blip, a month or two. The girls were at home from daycare because we don't want them to get COVID. So I'm just full-time dad for a month or two, and I just decided to enjoy it. It was too stressful to try to figure out how to make new business, how to work on my business while watching my girls at the same time, while being so stressed about everything. So I logged off Facebook and refreshed mentally. I have not been on the news or Facebook for like several months. Well, the first like 2 months I was off completely. Now lately I go on occasionally, but I'm trying to keep my mind clear and happy and healthy to get through the survival mode and refreshing. Another thing is I would not recommend raising your prices. If you're due to raise your prices this year, you might want to hold off. I raised my prices a lot this year, back in January. It was working out okay. I was due for a great year. I jinxed it. I said this is going to be my best year ever. And then sure enough, a pandemic happened. So seeing the statistics from the Redding report with couples cutting back on spending, couples do not like uncertainty, so they're afraid to overextend if they don't even know if their wedding is going to happen. I do think a lot of couples are cutting back and therefore probably will not be looking for your more expensive packages. I would not say you necessarily have to start discounting yet. That's going to be up to you, looking at your numbers. Currently, I'm kind of hanging in there where I've booked just enough to feel like I don't need to slash my rates. However, if I did feel like I lost a couple leads because of my more expensive prices, so if I have a slow month or the weddings don't pick up soon, I'm going to start sending out my old rates from before the price raise to my couples' new leads until I get my numbers up to a nice safe base level before I reintroduce my new prices. So you might have to take step back with your prices to kind of get through it. There's no shame in like giving some slight discounts just to get your base level of business back to where you need it to be. All right, I'm also not investing a lot in ads or bridal shows. Typically, I like to do a bridal show in the summer and in the fall to kind of get ready for next year. I'm not comfortable doing that right now. I actually prepaid for a bridal show over the summer, this summer, and they canceled it, but they turned it into a virtual bridal show. So I was like, great, I already bought this virtual bridal show. I don't even know if it's going to work. I got very lucky that one couple booked an engagement session with the intent of hopefully booking me. They just have a lot of uncertainty. They don't know when their wedding is going to be. So I hope I might get lucky, but I definitely do not feel comfortable booking any more bridal shows or expensive advertising purchases. Now, normally when business is slow, you do want to invest in marketing and advertising. However, right now, with this uncertainty, I don't see a lot of couples wanting to book and finalize plans right now. If you're seeing something different, please comment in the below, and so that we can all kind of learn. Once this starts picking up, hopefully it'll pick up for everybody. I do plan on going back to advertising once I feel like couples are booking again, to kind of come out of it strong. But if I save my money now so that I can invest in January, I think I'll be better off. All right, the other biggest thing that I feel like everybody could do is long-term marketing, as far as marketing goes. So what's long-term marketing? SEO on your website takes time. It takes time to build up SEO. It does not pay off today. It will pay off in 6 months. Well, if people aren't actively looking right now and active advertising isn't really working, long-term advertising is the best investment for your time. Start dumping some hours into your SEO, and then in 6 months when couples are searching again, bam, they're finding you. So that's my big goal for this fall, is I'm going to go all out on my SEO. Another example of long-term marketing is reaching out to your vendor relationships. Reaching out and building up your vendor relationship. So I've got old vendors that have been good to me. I want to maintain that relationship. I've tried to text people and say, hey, hope you're hanging in there. How you doing? Making phone calls, things like that, to try to keep your relationship strong. Also, reaching out to new venues that you'd like to partner with, it's a good time to do that while everybody's slow and has time to respond and time to maybe network and get together. The other thing you can do is clearing the plate. All right, clearing the plate of all the things that are going to get in your way when stuff starts to get busy. So things like, it could even be personal things. So like the first month I took off to hang out with my family, I said, look, I've got my siding on my house that needs to be painted. I've got this door that needs to be fixed. I've wanted to redo my bathroom. I'm going to get all that stuff out of the way so that when I get busy with business, I don't have to worry about my tasks around the house taking up my time and taking up my weekends. And same thing for business. I want to update my archiving system. I've got all my weddings archived, and I want to update my backup system to some of the things being more automatic and automated. So I've always been afraid to dig in and do that while I'm busy. So now I've got time. That's an example of something I can clear the plate. Also, I want to update my client workflow, my client emails. I just put together a 48-page Ultimate Wedding Guide magazine to send to my couples and my leads, and using email marketing and bridal show marketing and things like that. So I had the downtime to write this 48-page magazine. I wouldn't normally do that, have the time to do that during a normal busy season. So use the downtime for long-term projects that will benefit your business. You know, get some of the clutter out of the way, do your bookkeeping, clean up your website, clean up your files, systems, whatever needs to get done that you won't have time to get done later. Get it done now, so when the market starts to recover, you're ready to roll on selling and serving your clients. So again, I just want to remind you, hang in there. Recessions always are tough, but whoever comes through a recession comes out stronger. So take advantage of the downtime, kick some butt on rebuilding your business, strengthening your business, and let's all have an amazing 2021. So check out the links below to the wedding report so you can get your own personalized data on your personal market. Please subscribe and like. We're a brand new channel. This part of my downtime is my dream of creating Shutter School. I'm now finally getting after it. I'm going to be making content every day. I'd love for you to join us. So anyway, good luck everybody. Love y'all, and see you soon.